Fairness is a fundamental concept in our criminal justice system. Fairness for victims means that they get a voice through the entire process.
We have a responsibility to champion victims, to be with them through every phase of their experience.
It means being treated with dignity, being treated as a human being.
It's making sure that victim has an opportunity to begin that path toward healing.
Respect really means being brought into the process and not being treated as an afterthought.
My mother and my brother were murdered in front of me. I was 10. I just turned 10. He put the gun to my head and he had me beg for my life.
We in law enforcement, we're many times the first responders. We have not traditionally been adequately trained on victims' issues, how to deal with shock and numbness and surprise.
I felt isolated. I lost my self-worth. Nobody knew what I was going through. To go 3 years without talking about it, I imploded. I mean, everything inside of me came out at 13, and I wanted to die.
We know in the field now that the single area that probably causes the most problematic behavior in both boys and girls, and specifically violent behavior in the future, are children that witness violence.
A social worker got me a therapist. She sat with me and listened to me, and that was my first time anybody ever wanted to listen to me that way.
Crime itself robs you of a terrific amount of dignity. But when you report a crime like rape, your body literally becomes a crime scene. You become evidence and you become a witness. It's rare to meet a survivor of sexual violence who has not encountered some form of indignity throughout the process.
The dignity component of victims' rights is really about treating people humanely, recognizing the human side of crime and the very individual hurt that happens to someone.
It means listening. It means not being afraid to go to very dark places with people who have suffered greatly.
I met a guy at a church and he wanted to be my friend. I thought it'd be great. Instead, he assaulted me and I felt very scared. Oftentimes, people with disabilities or who are victims, sometimes people do not believe them. It's so important as volunteers is to be sensitive when the person calls on the hotline number.
When the criminal justice system really embraces the notion of victim rights and of treating the victim with respect, that means that every part of the system really responds.
Lucky for me, the sane nurse understands when I say I need a detective who have a good, caring heart, and the guy really took the time to talk to me. I decided to prosecute this person, and the DA really took the time to explain things about the court procedure and how that is affecting my life.
I felt like the detective really treated me with fairness, dignity, and respect.
One of the things that has been wonderful about the crime victims movement, I think there is a resurgence of energy. There's now a growing movement of younger pioneers who are coming forward with new ideas.
I love this one. Testimony around the issue of sexual violence takes a huge amount of courage, but I would argue that without it, the movement will stall.
She looks strong. She is strong.
We founded the Voices and Faces Project with a really clear mission to create a space for healing for survivors while knowing that with the right support, they have the capacity to rebuild their lives.
We passed laws affording victims' rights, And those laws have been on the books for 30+ years in most jurisdictions. But we have to take the next step, which is rights enforcement.
She was heard, and she did have her day in court, and I think that really made a difference to her and other victims.
That really does mean holding courts' feet to the fire to treat victims' rights as legal rights.
When I am down and oh, my soul so weary.
Even though I've been through what I've been through, to be able to help somebody else, to be able to affect somebody else's life in a positive way, there is fairness. You can restore your dignity. And respect starts with yourself. But if we can't get to people to help them, then it's a difficult road.
The bar has been raised for us professionals as to how we're supposed to respond.
This is about justice, after all. It's ensuring that when people have suffered, we reach out to them and we say to them, we want to bring you back and help make you whole.